Hello and welcome to the Coastal Catalogue, and this week we are looking at Morecambe from Antiquity to Eden. There is perhaps some surprising antiquity behind the name Morecambe, and we're going to have a look at that. And then we're going to move on to discuss the forthcoming Eden project, which everybody seems to be hugely excited about. But I have concerns with regards to British heritage. Somewhat surprisingly, the name Morecambe doesn't become officially recognised until 1889, by which time it had become a popular Victorian seaside resort. Prior to that, there's a couple of references in the 18th century. But there's a surprise here. This name Morecambe goes back into antiquity. Right, seventh time lucky recording this one. Moraine Cabris Estuarus. Yes. That was the Roman name of this area from Ptolemy's map. We don't know for sure whether that's just a Latin Greek name or whether it was some sort of Latinized version of the pre-existing Celtic name. And it's an accurate description, describing it as the fourth inlet on the west coast north of Wales. We've got a new fake drone thing going on this week, so sorry if there are some gratuitous shots. I'll film that again with my shoelaces done up this time. Let me get this etymology, yes, right. So when Morecambe was officially recognised as a town in the late Victorian era, it effectively was an amalgamation of three villages: Torrisholme, Bear and Poulton-le-Sands. Pool is all Old English. The Pool is from Poole and the Tun is from Farnstead. The Le Sands bit was a sort of Victorian pretension to distinguish it when the train came from somewhere else called Poulton. And then Bear is all Old English, Beru, which was Anglo-Saxon for grove. Torrisholme gives us some Norse. The home part of that was Norse for island or promontory, that sort of thing. So it was Thorolder's Island. And that's the fantastic Art Deco Midland Hotel in Morecambe, the sort of place where Hercule Souchet wouldn't be out of place. A lot of folks are pinning their hopes on what is planned to happen here behind me. This is the site of the proposed Eden project, northern equivalent of that one they've got down in Cornwall. £100 million estimate at the moment, so that'll end up being about 15 times that. And if it happens, I'm sure that it will be an improvement. All we've got here at the moment is dereliction, a former swimming pool, lido and dolphinarium. But my concern is that with this development, the corporatists will arrive. This is the 21st century after all, and I think its built heritage is going to be under threat. Just behind me there is the fantastic Brucianni's, trading in Morecambe since 1939, ice cream and Italian-style coffee. But already, just a few doors down from there, on the Central Marine Parade, there is an application to demolish a whole row of buildings and replace it with the normal, boring identikit glass and steel nonsense. Here it is. Most of this row behind me here is now up for demolition. Now, you may say they look a bit tatty and grubby, and yes they do, but I think they could be restored. I know that many people will say that I'm a curmudgeon stuck in the past, and they will say that these buildings are worthless. But I'm going to put some sort of overlay over here to show you the corporatist sort of nonsense that is proposed for here. There you go. What is British about that? Back in the days when celebrities weren't on reality television, many of them played here at Morecambe in the Winter Gardens, including this chap, Eric Morecambe, who famously one day went into Brucianni's when it was empty and made them all laugh by asking where he should sit. He probably said it a bit better than that. Right, I've sort of fashioned a microphone out of this stuff. Let's go and get some opinions.
I'm Dr. Graham Blick.
Hello, Dr. Graham Blick. So what's your view about the Eden Project? Is it all good?
My view is that it's probably going to be the best thing that's happened to this part of the world since 30, 40 years ago.
I think it's a fantastic idea because this area over the last 20, 30 years is just deteriorated.
Well, I think it'll be good for bringing tourists in because the area's been run down for a long time.
Is it going to be a good thing?
Yes, I'm sure it will be, yes.
Excellent idea.
Bit closer, yeah, bit closer, bit closer. That's it, right. So we're going to have another opinion here. Now, what's your name?
I'm Alex York.
Hello, Alex. So what do you think about the Eden Project? Is it good?
I don't think it's very good because it will ruin the old-fashioned feel of Morecambe. I like how it feels like old-fashioned and it feels preserved.
So there's currently a plan in place to demolish a whole row of the Victorian seafront here and replace it with modern glass and steel buildings. What do you feel about that?
Well, that's a shame because we knocked down a lot of buildings in the past and it's not always for the best.
That's modern art, and that's what everybody wants to change to.
Isn't that just corporatist money producing the same buildings the world over that you could see anywhere in Europe? What is British about it?
Well, there's nothing British about it. It's what's happening worldwide.
I am concerned about that, but I actually believe that the influence that the Eden Project hierarchy will help to ensure that those demolitions don't in fact occur.
Not very good, really. I quite like it as it is, to be fair. To be perfectly honest, don't you?
They'd perhaps be better doing the old buildings up rather than pulling them down.
Well, that was really interesting. Whilst I'm not surprised that everyone was positive about the Eden Project, and I get that, this place needs something to happen to it. When I mentioned the idea of the historic built heritage being destroyed as part of that redevelopment, nobody was in favour of that, and that's very different to what you find on the local Facebook pages. If you dare to suggest we should preserve any of this stuff, you literally get torn to shreds. They have been investing in Morecambe for at least the last 20 years, but none of it seems to really have any effect on the performance of the town. This was done some years ago. It's a sort of an artistic representation of the Lakeland Fells across the other side of the bay. I don't want to come across as bitter about other YouTubers' success, but I have seen this art installation, if that's what it is, feature on another channel, one that has billions of subscribers. I won't embarrass him by saying the name of the channel, but he interpreted this as a representation of the mud flats in Morecambe Bay. Tim, nice but dim. That famous Morecambe Bay mud flat known as Helvellyn. Right, let's wrap this up then. To clarify, our position is that we are not opposed to the Eden Project. This is a derelict site. Let's do something like that with it. Great. What we don't believe is that we have to then hand over the rest of our built heritage to the property speculators. People who will tear down our past, replace it with bland, generic buildings that you could see anywhere else in the world, and that have a life expectancy of 50 years. We think these tired, shabby old buildings that you've seen today can be given a new lease of life and look inherently wonderful and inherently British. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed that, and apologies if we went a bit to town with our new enhanced fake drone. We'll soon get bored with that like everything else. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another video.